So I'm putting this before the actual review, so the audio is going to sound kind of different since the Enigma stuff is pretty old by now. Muramasa's taking a while, and I already got like 90 lines worth of notes, so it's going to be probably one of those 30-minute ones. That's going to be ass to edit. I also wrote something on Yukiko Melt. It's pretty decent depending on the route. And I also made a VN tier list, but that was like over 2 hours long, and I'm not doing that because YouTube's probably going to take like a month to render it or to process it. And it was just too sporadic anyway, so I might do something with the idea, but not what I did. I'm just going to delete all of that. But both of those are just in the blog instead. I still have to update that favorite VN list as well. It's been years. I was planning on just shitting on Trino Line first, but I want to space it out, so I'm doing Enigma first. It's going to be a pretty short one since there's not much to say. Honestly, it's a pretty good read. And it's pretty funny when me and a couple guys just couldn't figure out if Envirio was a dude or not. Or it's like, is that a dude? I don't know, man. I'm just going to continue reading on it. Anyways, when I was playing this felt like I was playing something from Livesoft, and it has this Yuki Kaijura feel from like the 2000 to 2004 series. It's a short novel, like 10 hours, where the protag, Chester, gets stranded on this island and decides to live his final days in peace while the others are just oblivious to his end, or they just suffer through their ineptitude to help him out. The amount and the quality of the CG is kind of surprising for this like $15 game, and it's usually on sale since it's like from 2016 or something. Like normally you can find for like $8 now. The amount of tracks are minimal, but most of them, if not all of them, fit the mood. And I was looking around and wondering why there was no like soundtrack DLC, and apparently a lot of them are just royalty free, so I guess that's just a legal reason. So in the beginning, all you can do is start with Laurel, because the other ones are locked until then. Or once I think it's like Laru 1, then you can do Ignis, and then Envirio. Each character has like 5 to 6 endings, and a good number of them are actually pretty interesting and gives you pieces to the overall plot. Though some of them should just be removed, like 1 or 2 of each character, since they don't really do much and it's more like, oh, shock factor, and I really didn't care, it didn't help anything. The plot isn't anything amazing, but I'd say it's above average. It still hit me at the last 20 minutes or so. Staying true to its title, it's open-ended enough to keep you thinking on parts that aren't really important to the final ending, to leave this sour taste of not knowing what's happening. The overall themes and ideas aren't overtly subtle during, or at least after, Ignis's routes. It can still surprise you sometimes, but overall you can see where it's leading. But it has great pacing, and the lack of padding is just refreshing. And that's the beauty of it. There's so many games and novels that just belittle your time. I don't need this 40 hours of padding for some extra scenes for the story. Like the shit Cold Steel 2 did with the New Game Plus. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, without YouTube's, like, would you really just play 80 hours again for this shit? And it's like, I don't need a 100-hour thing for like Assassin's Creed if it could have just been streamlined for like 30 hours. And I could just do multiple examples, but it's always going to be led to the same thing of, you just piecemealed me the plot instead of just giving me a decent amount of dumps. Like, it has this storybook theme in it, and I enjoyed it a lot more than when I was reading, I forgot the real title of it, but it's Majo Koi, in a much shorter amount of time, when I felt like it did a much better job on the same theme. I give it a 7, but with personal bias, I would just put it as an 8 with just how charming it can be sometimes. Like, it was really simple, and it somehow still hit me for the last, like, I think I said earlier, it's like last half an hour or something like that. So it's like I said, there's not much to complain about in this one. Some of the endings are not needed, the music is great, and there's some unanswered questions. But honestly, it's called Enigma, and they leave you with the epilogue open-ended, so just do what you will. I think there's like an art book as well, maybe they answer some things like how Nier does it, but who knows. It's like, I like the concept of the storybook that like Chester's dad reads to him. It was just something to explain how Chester is, but it still refers to the past and the future of the novel. I also like how this young man telling you the story could reach to almost anyone. Like, it could have been taken at face value, and him just being Chester, leading the reader to the epilogue. It could be Elliot, Chester's friend, or Envirio, who Chester helped out to make like an actual person, leading Chester's soul to the second life. And that's why Colette has this reaction and leaves without saying anything to the new protag. Hell, it might even just be them showing how Colette's still pretty a shitty person, and you don't know, maybe she'll stab you in the back again. It could even be my first guess from the first route, where the young man is genius, helping out his friend one last time. Who knows? And it'll just be funny if there was really an answer and just never picked it up, because that's also possible.